Thank you, students, for your participation, and it's been a pleasure organizing this. And now we have come to the valedictory session of this 3-day students workshop on development journalism organized by Press Club Kolkata in collaboration with the Unicef Office for West Bengal. And to deliver the valedictory address, I have the honor of inviting one of the senior most journalists in the country, a person who has, who's not just a journalist, but a very, very accomplished media academician, a very important member of the media educators fraternity. He's a member of 13 board of studies across, the country, 13 board of studies in journalism and mass communication. He's been my teacher in 96-98 batch at the University of Kolkata. And he's part of many, many other organizations, including the St. Xavier's College Alumni Association and so many other places. We are absolutely delighted to have him there. He also specializes on media law. So someone who is a very, very respected speaker, academician, journalist, administrator, and as I said, I dare say that Sir wears so many hats. So I have the pleasure of inviting the President, Press Club Kolkata, Mr. Snehasis Sur, to deliver the valedictory address.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey, for your nice words. And I think on a Sunday evening, no student is waiting to listen to me, who I am and what I could do in my career. That's a different issue altogether. I will assure you, my dear students, I'm not going to give you a valedictory address. I don't think I am in a position to give it. We could have invited anybody to give the valedictory address, but we did not want to further burden you on a Sunday evening. Just to say a parting words is that thank you, and thank you, my dear students. When we were planning on a weekend, we were a bit hesitant. But yes, mass communication students, journalism students are prepared to journalism and even in academics last moment deadlines. And this does not take care of
I think yes, Gorinath Mahato, you want to present something? Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, sorry. You see, this also has given you a practice, but which we did not want to do it deliberately. I'm sorry, and my sincere apologies for spoiling your weekend. But I must say that this is actually not spoiling your weekend. You have got something, and which we consider to be very important. As we understand that there is not much scope of training when you join the profession or when you join even in academics. Yes, there are some scope, but not much. And these are the areas and how to report on women and children, how to see development, how to report development. It's not government do say so journalism. It's actually seeing development and reporting development, people's development, finding people's stories and reporting them. So this is one area, starting from development and then finding and seeing development and reporting on it. And to sensitize you how to find a space when the entire media space is overboarded with crime, cricket, cinema, incident, event, politics, etc. But still, human interest stories, stories of people. Where is people in your story? There is a readership, viewership, and listening of the people's, either people's plight or people's positive stories, making changes. So this must have helped you in opening your eyes. You are young. You must be guided in the right track. You will be busy in something else, on a making meeting on a day-to-day deadline. But again, you can see development, you can report development, and with a special thrust on women and children. And also, we deliberately wanted you to have some modern skills like modular journalism and data journalism, because without data, you cannot work these days. You have to substantiate. And when you work with the big data, how to find a story, where the story is hidden in a data. There are a lot of figures. Figures will not make a story, interesting story. And if you put all the figures, people will not read it. You have to interpret those figures, but interpretation will be substantiative by the data and the figures available. So, my dear friends, we wanted to do it. We wanted to do it seriously. We tried to get the best kind of faculty across the country, and I believe you have been benefited. And if you really go with a takeaway, and if you really, if you have changed your vision, you have now understood what to see, and how to note and how to reproduce in a most interesting manner. The modern media requires to be anything and everything to be presented in a catchy and interesting manner. So I told you earlier that someone somewhere in the world has been the provider of resources, and you all have given time, and including Dr. Pandey and Professor Joya Chakraborty, Madam Sucharita Bordon, and all others have given their time. So whether it would be fruitful, and it only be fruitful if you take away and don't keep that takeaway, you practice it, you put it in your life, you internalize it, and you use it when you join the profession or academics. You may go to IEC component, information, education, communication. You may go to AdPR in the social communication, creating social ads. You can go to hardcore journalism, reporting or desk. Your perception has to be proper, and which is very important because you are presenting it to millions. So if it is not just and proper, the direction may be haywire. So you have a great role to play, great responsibility to play. We just wanted you to be apprised of these areas. So we have placed before you these areas. I know that you are good students, you are committed students. That's why you are here in journalism and mass communication classes, and you are attending in this weekend. So, my dear friends, if you can understand, use it in your professional approach, and if you set your priorities, what to see in development, how to see development, and how to report on development, I think the efforts will be fruitful. I personally thank all the students of North Bengal University, students of University of Gaurbanga, students of SKBU, Sidhu Kanu Biswa University situated in Purulia, and the students of Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Dhenkanal campus. You know, this is a networking also, and all of you could be present. This is something which we have got in digital platforms that you can be connected wherever you are. Where you are is not at all important. We are deliberating, we are presenting things to you, and from various places you are getting the same input, and you are not required to be coterminous. This is something good which we have gathered here. This group may be remaining. There will be a lot of sharing. Dr. Pandey is a teacher for excellence, and he always develops. Every day he puts a lot of effort in developing resources. Resources are readily placed before you so that you won't have to search for it. It's readily available and you understand. And he has a beautiful website. I don't know whether he has given it to you or not. This is a resource. Even I, being his teacher and having spent almost 4 decades in journalism, I consult this site because he has made it user-friendly and he has put things together which I require. So I won't have to get the trouble of finding the proper and exact site. Somebody has played a gatekeeping role. Somebody has given a filter. Somebody has improved it. Somebody has presented it as a tailor-made. So, my dear friends, thank you, because without your participation, these efforts would have not been fruitful. And I believe with your internalization and your use in future, this will be, our effort will be 100% fruitful. Be committed to development, be committed to development communication, be committed to development journalism, and report development. There are stories, story values. You only need to see it and assimilate it to present it in a better and befitting and interesting manner. With lot of statistics these days, without statistics, you cannot claim. You have to judge. You see, people say that journalists are doing negative stories. Who's negative? If you are finding a gap in the field of development, the government will get to know that gap and that gap will be filled up. So ultimately, people at the grassroots level will be benefited. So your job, your commitment is to the people of the country. Obviously, you need to see it with a commitment, with a purpose, with an agenda. You are partnering development. You have taken a vow to see that development takes place at the grounds level and people's lives get changed. We have so many schemes, government, NGOs, and self-help groups and own generated, but this has to, yielding some results. And you have to take the role of information provider. You have to take the role of critiquing these if they are not properly done, so that the gap will be identified and will be filled up. So we all are committed to people. I cannot thank Dr. Umashankar Pandey enough, because it is his brainchild and he is nursing every time it happens. All these days, lot of preparations and lot of efforts being there always. Yes, he has done it, and I do not say we are grateful, we are thankful, but we are together for a cause, and he is, I should not say partner in crime, and we are on the same boat. So, if he doesn't, sail properly, the entire effort will be sink. He is our main sailor. And I thank Mr. Mohammad Mahyuddin and Ms. Sucharita Bordon. Ms. Bordon works in Unicef, we know, but she also is a committed, passionate, and competent person in the field of development communication. And she wants it to nurture, and she wants it to transfer the skill to millions of people. She has worked in the Northeast, she has worked in Rajasthan. In the Northeast, Professor Joya Chakraborty and I had an opportunity to work in these projects. In Rajasthan, primarily Dr. Pandey had been there in the project. I also could go once or twice. Professor Meenal Chatterjee was there. And yes, it's a team and we are committed for development. So obviously this has been made possible with the support of UNICEF, with the support of our two project associates, Manushree Maiti, who always are there behind the screen, and Mr. Debayon Bhaduri, who is online, he's always off, but in offline, he is always on. And many others, my colleagues in the Press Club Kolkata, Secretary Mr. Kingshuk Pramanik, and the Assistant Secretary Mr. Nitai Malaka, the Treasurer Mr. Orijit Dotto, and all other the staff, Pankaj Dash and Mr. Mitindo Joadar, all others, and Mr. Dipon Dash is also another associate. So we don't want to name all of them, but yes, it's a together. I just want to mention one thing. It's an effort and time of so many people so that we could present something useful to you. If you can carry it forward, if you can utilize, then our effort will be fulfilled. Thank you very much for joining and participating in this. You will be awarded with a certificate of participation. If you do not get, kindly get back to any one of us, any of the channels in the email IDs, so that the omissions can be corrected. And wish you all the best. And we would like to see you as committed, competent, compassionate development journalists. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this address, and it's been as usual, very, very useful for the students and then for us as the organizers as well. We have about 10 minutes and I'll take your time to just talk to you about a very important thing in ethical reporting, which is about the cognitive biases. So, students, are you there? তোমরা আছো না নেই?
হ্যাঁ স্যার
আর
আছি
রোববার রাত্রে ইউএসপি স্যার আর রোববার রাত্রে আর ওদের কষ্ট দিচ্ছিস কেন? if they agree and if they are there and you want to continue, there's no problem.
স্যার আই ডু হ্যাভ আ কোয়েশ্চেন though.
Yes, Nikhil,
We have
yes.
we'll have
স্যার
9:30 then.
Yes, Nikhil.
হ্যাঁ স্যার বলছি যে যদি ওই সার্টিফিকেটটা না আসে তাহলে কাকে কন্ট্যাক্ট করব একটু যদি বলে দেন।
Okay. That's a very important
এটা
question.
আসল কথা, এটা বলে দিতে।
We'll address that question at the end of 5 or 7 minutes because our scheduled time is till 9:30 and we'll probably end a few minutes before that. So my colleague Mr. Devan Bhaduri will share the project email ID on the chat box and you will get to see there.
Okay sir.
তোমরা আছো? Are you there? You guys are there?
হ্যাঁ স্যার আছে।
Yes, sir.
Acho, right? We have shared some resources with you. তোমরা কি ওগুলো পেয়েছো? Have you received those resources? Did you get some resources on your email today? Yes or no?
Yes sir, we have got the
Yes sir.
links.
Very quickly, just 1 or 2 points because I think we need to talk about এই দু একটা জিনিস যদি না বলা হয় তাহলে আমরা একটু মিস করব। এটা তোমাদের জন্য প্রিপেয়ার করা হয়েছে। We'll just take 5 minutes of your time. Shall we go ahead? Yes or no? Are you there for 5 minutes? Yes or no?
Yes sir, we are here.
Yes, sir.
Yes sir.
বাকিরা আছো সবাই? Are you there for 5 minutes?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
ওকে, সো একটা আমাদের অনেক সময় আমরা ধরে নিই যেটা ওকে বলা হয় যে অনেক কিছু আমরা কগনিটিভলি ধরে নিই। এক হচ্ছে we assume that there is a deficit of information and we provide information and people will just take whatever is given. Other times we also assume that whatever we know, our readers also know. Am I clear about these two things? And these are all established in the field of psychology. In the field of psychology, we know it as the knowledge curve. I will not go through all the slides. I'll just talk to you about 2 or 3 things. Yesterday, I spoke about the survivor bias. And that's when I thought that I should talk about 2 or 3 more of these things. So this is known as the knowledge curve. Whenever an expert speaks or whenever a journalist speaks or whenever an activist speaks, they assume that others have the same background and knowledge on a topic as they do. Am I clear? Does it sound natural to you? You'll have to respond. Yes, Nikhil?
Yes sir, you're right sir.
Okay. So others also just, as I said, 2 or 3 things very quickly before we wind up. So first of all, there is something known as the knowledge curve. We assume that everyone knows as much as we do, and we do not give them as much information as is required. This is survivor bias. I've spoken about that yesterday. Again, this is related to confirmation bias, and this is something very, very important. And this is related to fact checking that we did yesterday. If somebody believes in certain things, you were talking about in any kind of a thing. If you talk about a thing that the earth does not rotate around the sun rotates around the earth. Can you understand what I'm telling you? As communicators, 1 or 2 important things. Are you there or shall I stop talking?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So you
Yes,
have
sir.
to
Yes.
respond. If you do not respond, I will think that I'm speaking to a blank screen, and that will make it very difficult. So whenever we are given with contradictory evidence, I believe for whatever reason that the sun revolves around the earth does not revolve around the sun. সূর্য পৃথিবীর চারিদিকে ঘুরছে এটা আমি বিশ্বাস করি. If I am given evidence, immediately I might not accept that evidence because of something known as the entrenchment effect. Am I clear about that?
Yes, sir.
সবাই
Yes, sir.
সবাই
Yes, sir.
একবারেই लोग ये नहीं मान लें कि भाई मैं गलत था. तो इसीलिए कोई भी फैक्ट चेकिंग या कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन तुरंत उसका इफेक्ट होगा ऐसा नहीं होता. आप में से कितने लोग मानते हैं कि मीडिया बहुत पावरफुल है? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू बिलीव? यू कैन रेज योर हैंड्स, यू डोंट इवन हैव टू से. कितने लोग मानते हैं मीडिया बहुत पावरफुल है? Okay, many of you think that media is very very powerful, but can media change a person from one extreme to another? किसी लेफ्टिस्ट को राइटिस्ट बना देगा या किसी राइटिस्ट को लेफ्टिस्ट बना सकता है मीडिया? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Anyone. किसी
Yes,
भी
sir.
लेफ्टिस्ट को मीडिया राइटिस्ट बना सकता है? Do you agree with that?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Because media has a certain area where it can function. So media can help people to reconfirm what they already believe in. हम ऑलरेडी उस बारे में हमारा थोड़ा सा वैसा विचारधारा था, जब हमें वैसा इंफॉर्मेशन मीडिया मिला हमने उसको एक्सेप्ट किया. Am I clear about that? We cannot assume that media has superpowers and they can make people believe in whatever. And this is a very very important thing that I wanted you to remember. And that is why we have something known as confirmation bias, और इसलिए हम उसको ज्यादातर नहीं accept करता. There is another effect and you can Google that later on or you can talk about that. कई बार we are incapable of objectively finding out our own competence. इसको Dunning Kruger effect कहते हैं. You can please Google that later, write down whatever. So कई बार if you ask somebody that will you be able to do that, a naive person will say yes I will be able to do everything. So a naive reporter might think that he has more power than he does, but generally media does not have any formal power. Media का कोई अनुष्ठानिक कोनो क्षमता नहीं. Media cannot give you punishment. Media cannot give you rewards. Media cannot give you anything tangible. It can only bring certain things to public notice, but it has some other effect which we do not want to talk about. The last, cognitive bias, because as I said, media is about people. We are talking about people. कई बार हम लोगों के behalf पर assume कर लेते हैं कि this is what they might want. Readers को हम assume कर लेते हैं this is what readers want to read, but it might not be so. Am I clear about this?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Because often we do not have any scientific way of finding out that this is what media wants to find out. And the second is something which is known as spotlight effect, and we all suffer from that. हमको ये लगता है everybody is watching me, हमको ये लगता है everybody is noticing us, we think that everybody is trying to find out about us and so on and so forth. But generally this spotlight effect is also one problem. So we are trying to suggest that whenever we are thinking about people, we'll have to think a little bit more comprehensively. Anyway, we do not have time for that. I have, I did a webinar on that long time back. I will share a link with you. I will also share my email ID with you. And if you have questions, we will probably meet later on. How many of you are from North Bengal here right now? Is there anyone from North Bengal here? No one? Anyone from North Bengal University at this moment? No one? Wonderful. So please do submit your feedback. Do stay in touch with us, and we will, probably have many of these things in the future as well. So
Yes, sir. Yes.
but yes, yes to what?
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
you
I
had
think
asked to
thank
submit
you.
the feedback, right? So for that, I said yes, sir.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Right. So what I'll do is I'll just share this thing on. So this is the last act for the day. We have completed our time. This is something that I spoke on cognitive biases long time back. If you want, you can have a look at that. The email, Nikhil, is there, pckmediaproject@gmail.com. If it doesn't reach you, you can write there. I will also share my email ID. And we will be in touch. I take your leave. Thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you, sir.
questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
No, sir.
Thank you
No,
very
sir.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's been quite late. Thank you very much. Thank you. We end the session here now.